Businesswoman catches her wheelchair-bound daughter smiling with the waiter and cries. Jennifer Thompson brought a hand to her chest as she watched through the restaurant window. Her daughter Emily hadn't smiled in 8 months, not since her world had changed forever. The 52-year-old businesswoman had tried everything: the best doctors, renowned therapists, expensive psychologists from New York. But there was her 16-year-old daughter, laughing like she hadn't since before the accident. The one responsible for this miracle was a young waiter who couldn't have been more than 20. He was juggling trays, balancing plates in near impossible ways, drawing genuine laughter from the teenager. Jennifer swallowed the lump in her throat. How had this simple young man achieved in one night what she hadn't in months? Emily had become a shadow of herself after the car crash that changed their lives. The outgoing girl who loved dancing and running on Miami's beaches now spent her days locked in her room, refusing to leave the house. It had been a battle just to convince her daughter to dine at that downtown restaurant. Jennifer made up an excuse about a cancelled work meeting, suggesting they make the most of their evening together. Emily had agreed just to avoid another argument. The waiter approached their table with a genuine smile on his tanned face. His brown hair was neatly combed, and he wore the restaurant's impeccable uniform. When he noticed Emily avoiding eye contact, he didn't push or show pity. Instead, he started performing little tricks as he took their order. "Did you see that?" he asked, making a pen disappear behind Emily's ear. The girl looked surprised, and for the first time in months, her dark eyes sparkled with something other than sadness. The young man kept up with small tricks, always respectful, never forcing interaction. "How did you learn to do that?" Emily asked shyly. "My sister taught me. She also uses a wheelchair. She said people always stare with pity, so it's better to give them something interesting to look at." Jennifer's heart clenched. This young man understood exactly what her daughter was going through. He didn't treat Emily like a poor thing or as if she might break. He treated her like a normal person who just happened to use a wheelchair. "What's your name?" Emily asked, more animated. "Ryan Miller. And you must be Emily, right? I saw the name on the reservation card when your mum booked." Jennifer watched the exchange with a mix of gratitude and curiosity. Ryan had a natural way of making Emily feel at ease. He didn't bend down to speak to her, maintained direct eye contact, and treated her with the same friendliness he'd show any other customer. Throughout dinner, Ryan stopped by their table several times, always with a funny comment or an interesting question for Emily. The girl responded with growing enthusiasm, even laughing out loud at times. "Mom, he's funny," Emily whispered when Ryan walked away. It was the first positive remark Emily had made about anyone since the accident. Jennifer held back tears, but couldn't stop her eyes from welling up. Dear listener, if you're enjoying the story, don't forget to like and especially subscribe to the channel. It helps us a lot as we're just starting out. Now, back to the story. At the end of the evening, as they were leaving, Ryan waved warmly. "It was a pleasure meeting you both. Hope to see you again soon." Emily waved back, something she hadn't done in months. In the car, she was more talkative than Jennifer had seen her in ages. "Mom, did you know he speaks 3 languages? And he's studying business at night? He's really smart." Jennifer drove with a smile, but her mind was racing. How could she ensure that spark in her daughter's eyes wouldn't fade again? An idea began forming in her mind, still hazy but there. In the following days, Jennifer noticed Emily mentioning Ryan several times. She talked about the tricks he'd done, the jokes he'd told, how he never treated her differently because of the wheelchair. "Mom, can we have dinner at that restaurant again?" Emily asked on Thursday. Jennifer's heart raced. It was the first time Emily had asked to go out since the accident. "Of course, sweetheart. How about tomorrow?" Jennifer arrived at the restaurant half an hour before Emily, who was coming with the driver. She needed to speak with the manager. Her firm, Thompson Consulting Group, was one of the largest business consultancies in the southern states. She had the resources and influence to make things happen. "Good evening. I'd like to talk about one of your employees," she said to the manager, a middle-aged man named Richard. "Is there a problem, Mom?" "Quite the opposite. Ryan Miller is exceptional. I'd like to know more about him." Richard looked surprised but proud. Ryan is one of our best employees, punctual, polite, hard-working. He's been with us for 2 years. Did he mention he's studying at night? Yes, business administration at State University. Sometimes he's tired, but he never complains. Has a family to support. Jennifer nodded, her mind already working. When Emily arrived, she sat at a discreet table, observing. Ryan greeted Emily with the same warmth as before, and once again he made her laugh several times that evening. But Jennifer noticed something more. Ryan seemed genuinely interested in what Emily had to say. He listened attentively when she talked about the books she was reading or the online classes she was taking at home. It wasn't just professional courtesy, it was real interest. After they left, Jennifer returned to the restaurant. "Richard, I'd like to make an unusual proposal," she told the manager. She explained that her daughter had been through a difficult time and that Ryan was the first person to make her smile again. She wanted to ensure he kept working there, maybe even with some extra benefits. "Could I discreetly increase his salary or cover his university costs?" Richard looked puzzled. "You want to pay for an employee's education? Why?" "He made my daughter smile for the first time in 8 months. That's priceless." But Richard shook his head. "Ma'am, with all due respect, Ryan wouldn't accept. He's very proud, works hard for what he has, and doesn't take handouts." Jennifer thought for a moment. "Then let's do it differently. I want you to give him more responsibilities, promotions he deserves, and I'd like to dine here regularly with my daughter." Richard agreed, though he seemed intrigued by the unusual situation. In the following weeks, Jennifer and Emily became regulars at the restaurant. They always requested a table in Ryan's section, and he always greeted them with special warmth. Emily gradually began opening up, telling Ryan about her fears and frustrations. "Sometimes I'm angry," she confessed one night. "Angry that I can't do the things I used to." Ryan nodded understandingly. "My sister Olivia went through the same thing. She told me anger is normal, part of accepting the new reality. But she also said one day, you stop seeing the wheelchair as a prison and start seeing it as a tool." "How so?" "She found she could do things she never imagined. Now she's a painter, creates amazing works with her mouth, sells them and makes more money than I do." Ryan laughed. Emily grew thoughtful. "I used to love dancing. I can't imagine doing anything else." "Ever seen wheelchair dancing? It's incredible. I can show you some videos on my phone later." Jennifer watched these conversations with a heavy heart. Ryan was achieving something even the best therapists hadn't managed, getting Emily to talk about her feelings without shutting down. But a problem arose. One evening, when they arrived at the restaurant, Ryan wasn't there. "Where's Ryan?" Emily asked, clearly disappointed. "He had to leave early today," Richard replied evasively. Jennifer noticed the tension in the manager's voice. After Emily went to the restroom, she confronted him. "What's going on with Ryan?" Richard sighed. "He's been having some punctuality issues. He's late 3 times a week. The owner is losing patience." "But why is he late?" "We don't know. He doesn't give explanations, just apologizes." Jennifer felt a chill in her stomach. If Ryan got fired, Emily's progress could completely regress. "Richard, I need you to give me a few more days before making any decisions about Ryan. Please." "I'll try, but I can't promise anything." That night, Jennifer barely slept. She needed to find out what was happening with Ryan and figure out a way to help without him realizing. The next day, she did something she never imagined she'd do. She hired a private investigator to learn more about Ryan Miller's life. The results came 2 days later and broke Jennifer's heart. Ryan lived in a small apartment in Flushing with his 62-year-old mother, Margaret, and his 18-year-old sister, Olivia. Margaret had diabetes and high blood pressure, requiring constant care. Olivia had lost the use of her legs in an accident when she was 15. Ryan's lateness happened because he took Olivia to physical therapy 3 times a week before work. Sometimes the session ran long, or Olivia had anxiety attacks, and he had to calm her down before leaving. The family lived on very little. Ryan's salary from the restaurant was their only steady income. Olivia did some craft work, but it wasn't enough. Margaret received a small benefit, but most of it went to medication. Jennifer was deeply moved. Ryan was sacrificing his own job to care for his family, yet he still managed to be cheerful and attentive to Emily. She needed to act, but knew Ryan was too proud to accept direct help. She had to be smart. The next evening, when they went to the restaurant, Jennifer watched Ryan closely. He looked tired, with darker circles under his eyes, but he still greeted Emily with the same warmth as always. "Ryan, are you okay?" Emily asked, concerned. "I'm fine, just a little tired, but I'm really happy to see you." During dinner, Jennifer made a decision. When Ryan stepped away, she leaned toward Emily. "Sweetheart, I need to tell you something." Emily looked at her curiously. "You know Mom has a company, right? Well, I'm thinking of expanding our business, maybe opening a restaurant." "Really?" Emily seemed interested. "Yes. And I was thinking, what if I talked to Ryan about it? He seems to really understand customer service." Emily's eyes lit up. "You'd hire him?" "Maybe, but I want to do it the right way so it doesn't seem like a favor." Emily nodded excitedly. Jennifer smiled, knowing she'd found a way to help Ryan without hurting his pride. But first, she needed to understand his family's situation better. Dear listener, if you're enjoying the story, don't forget to like and especially subscribe to the channel. It really helps us who are just starting out. Now, continuing. The next day, Jennifer did something she rarely did. She visited Flushing. She drove her black Lexus through the narrow streets, looking for the address the investigator had provided. The apartment was in an old but well-maintained building. Jennifer parked and went up to the third floor. She had prepared a story about scouting talent for her company, which was technically true. The door was answered by a middle-aged woman with graying hair tied in a simple bun. Her brown eyes were kind but tired. "You must be Margaret," Jennifer said with a smile. "My name is Jennifer Thompson. I'm a business owner and would like to talk about your son, Ryan." Margaret looked worried. "Did he do something wrong? He's a good boy, works hard." No, quite the opposite. He's been exceptional with my daughter. I'd like to discuss a job opportunity." Margaret invited her inside. The apartment was small but impeccably clean. The furniture was old but well cared for. The walls were adorned with several vibrant, colorful paintings. "These paintings are beautiful," Jennifer remarked. "They're Olivia's, my daughter. She paints with her mouth. She's very talented." A young voice came from the next room. "Mom, who is it?" "Come here, Olivia. There's a lady who wants to talk about Ryan." Olivia appeared in a manual wheelchair. She was a pretty young woman with the same brown eyes as her family and a warm smile. Jennifer immediately noticed the resemblance to Emily in both age and condition. "Do you know my brother?" Olivia asked. "Yes, he serves my daughter at the restaurant where he works. He's been very special to us." Jennifer briefly explained about Emily and how Ryan had managed to make her smile again. Margaret and Olivia listened intently, and Jennifer saw the pride on their faces. "Ryan has always been like that," Margaret said. "Even as a child, he cared about others. When Olivia had her accident, he left school to work and pay for her treatments." "Mom, you don't have to say that," Olivia protested, embarrassed. "No, sweetheart, it's important for people to know the kind of person he is." Jennifer felt a lump in her throat. Ryan had sacrificed his own dreams to take care of his family. "That's why I'm here," Jennifer continued. "My company is growing and I'm looking for special people to join our team. Ryan has shown qualities I deeply value." "What kind of job?" Margaret asked cautiously. "Customer service, relationship management. He'd have opportunities to grow, take courses, build a solid career." Olivia's eyes lit up. "Ryan has always dreamed of having his own business. He's talked about it since he was little." "And what about you, Olivia? Any plans for the future?" The young woman hesitated. "I would like to sell my paintings, but I don't know how to do it properly." Jennifer looked again at the paintings on the walls. They were truly impressive. Vibrant colors, refined technique, emotion conveyed in every brushstroke made with her mouth. "Have you ever thought about exhibiting your work?" "Exhibiting?" Olivia laughed sadly. "Who would want to see paintings made by someone like me?" "A talented person like you," Jennifer corrected firmly. "The fact that you paint with your mouth doesn't diminish your art. In fact, it makes it even more remarkable. Olivia fell silent, processing the words. Can I make a proposal to both of you? Jennifer continued. I'd like to offer Ryan a job opportunity, and I'd also like to help Olivia exhibit her work. You don't even know us, Margaret said skeptically. Why would you do this? Jennifer took a deep breath. It was time to be honest. Because you don't know the gift Ryan gave my family. My daughter was lost, depressed. Ryan brought her back to life. As a mother, that's priceless. Margaret was moved. He never told me that. Ryan is discreet, but he saved my daughter in a way even the best doctors couldn't. At that moment, the door opened, and Ryan walked into the apartment. He stopped in surprise upon seeing Jennifer there. Mrs. Thompson? What are you doing here? Did something happen to Emily? No, Ryan. I came here to talk to you about an opportunity. Ryan tensed up. What kind of opportunity? Jennifer explained about her company and the possible position. Ryan listened quietly, but she noticed the suspicion in his eyes. Why me? He finally asked. Because you have qualities that can't be learned in any school. You have compassion, emotional intelligence, the ability to connect with people. That's rare. But you barely know me. I know you well enough to see you're exactly the kind of person I want on my team. Ryan looked at his mother and sister, then back at Jennifer. I need to think about it. Of course, there's no rush. Jennifer stood to leave, but Olivia called out to her. Mrs. Thompson, about displaying my paintings, and were you serious? Completely. I have connections in Miami's art scene. I can arrange a small exhibition to start. We'll see how the audience responds. Olivia's eyes filled with tears. No one's ever taken my art seriously before. Then it's about time someone did. As Jennifer left the building, Ryan caught up with her in the parking lot. Mrs. Thompson, wait. She turned to him. I need to know why you're really doing this. Please be honest with me. Jennifer looked into the young man's sincere eyes and decided to tell him the whole truth. My daughter had an accident 8 months ago. She lost the use of her legs and has been a completely different person since then. Sad, withdrawn, hopeless. I've spent a fortune on treatments, and nothing worked. Ryan listened silently. Then I took her to dinner at the restaurant where you work. In one evening, you did what no doctor could. You made her genuinely smile. As a mother, I owe you for that. I just treated her like a normal person. Exactly, and you have no idea how rare that is. Ryan grew thoughtful. Are you hiring me out of pity? No, Ryan. I'm hiring you because you're exceptional at what you do. Pity just made me notice your qualities. Ryan smiled for the first time since the conversation began. Can I give you an answer tomorrow? Of course. But Ryan, there's one condition. He looked concerned. What? I want you to keep being Emily's friend. She's grown attached to you. She considers you a true friend. Of course, I care about her too. Jennifer smiled and got into her car. Driving home, she felt hopeful for the first time in months. That evening at dinner, Emily noticed Ryan seemed different, more thoughtful, but also more hopeful. Are you okay? She asked. Yeah, actually, I'm great. Your mum made me an interesting offer today. Emily looked at Jennifer curiously. What offer? Well, Jennifer began, I'm thinking of expanding my business, and I need special people to help me. And you thought of Ryan? I did. He has unique qualities. Emily beamed. That's amazing. Ryan, are you going to accept? I'm still thinking. It's a big change. But it's an opportunity, right? Emily pressed. Ryan laughed. You're very wise for a 16-year-old. My mom always says that. Jennifer watched their interaction with a warm heart. Ryan had truly become an important figure in Emily's life. The next day, Ryan called Jennifer. Mrs. Thompson, I accept your offer, but I want you to know I'll work hard to deserve this opportunity. I'm sure you will, Ryan. And about my sister, Olivia, can you really help her? I can and I will. In fact, I've already contacted a small gallery downtown. They're interested in seeing her work. Ryan fell silent for a moment. Thank you for everything. Ryan, You've already done more for my family than you realize. Now it's my turn to give back." In the days that followed, things moved quickly. Ryan gave notice at the restaurant, but Richard let him go immediately, knowing the opportunity he was being given. Jennifer arranged everything so Ryan could start at her company the following week. She created a special position for him, Customer Relations Coordinator. The salary was 3 times what he'd made at the restaurant. But it didn't stop there. She also set up a meeting between Olivia and the owner of the art gallery. When he saw the young woman's paintings, he was impressed. "These works are extraordinary," he said. "The fact that they're made with her mouth doesn't make them any less art. In fact, it adds a layer of meaning few artists can convey." Olivia cried when she learned she'd have her first solo exhibition in 2 months. Emily was overjoyed with all the changes. Ryan now worked in the same building as Jennifer's office, and they had lunch together at least once a week. "Mom, you did the right thing helping Ryan and Olivia," Emily said one day. "You think so?" "I'm sure of it. They deserve every opportunity in the world." Jennifer smiled. Her daughter was developing a mature perspective on life, learning about gratitude and helping others. Ryan adjusted quickly to the new job. His natural ability with people made him a valuable employee right away. He brought innovative ideas to improve customer service and was always eager to learn. But not everything was perfect. A few weeks after Ryan started at the company, Jennifer got an unexpected call. "Jennifer, it's Richard from the restaurant." "Hi, Richard. How are you? Look, I didn't want to bother you, but I need to tell you something about Ryan." Jennifer's heart raced. "What happened?" "After he left, I found out some things. He was taking extra food from the kitchen, bringing it home." Jennifer went silent. "I didn't say anything at the time because he was a good employee, but I thought you should know." "Richard, are you telling me Ryan was stealing food?" "Well, technically, yes, but I think it was for his family. It was never anything valuable." Jennifer sighed. She knew how much Ryan's family struggled. He'd probably taken food home to make sure his mother and sister had something to eat. "Richard, thank you for telling me. But this doesn't change my opinion of Ryan. You're not going to fire him?" "Of course not. If he took food, it was because he needed it. That just shows how much he cares for his family." After hanging up, Jennifer grew thoughtful. She needed to find a way to help Ryan's family without hurting his pride. The solution came unexpectedly. Olivia called her a few days later. "Mrs. Thompson, I need to talk to you." "Of course, Olivia. What's wrong?" "It's about my brother. He's different, more stressed. I think he's worried about something." Jennifer decided to visit the Miller family's apartment that same afternoon. When she arrived, she found Ryan having a serious conversation with his mother in the living room. "Ryan, is everything okay?" she asked. He looked surprised and embarrassed. "Mrs. Thompson, what are you doing here?" "Olivia called me saying you were worried about something." Ryan sighed and ran a hand through his hair. "It's just, now that I'm earning more, I want to help more at home, but my mum is being stubborn." Margaret crossed her arms. "I won't take all his money. He needs to save for the future, for his education." "Mum, I can pay for college and still help at home now." "No, Ryan, you've already sacrificed too much for us." Jennifer understood the situation. They were a proud family, but also one that loved each other deeply. "May I suggest a solution?" she interrupted. The 3 of them looked at her. "Ryan, what if you only covered part of the household expenses? And Olivia, once you start selling your paintings, you could contribute too." "But what if no one buys my paintings?" Olivia asked worriedly. "They will, I'm sure of it." And Jennifer was right. Olivia's exhibition was a surprising success. On opening night, far more people showed up than expected. The paintings impressed not just for their technique, but for the emotion they conveyed. Emily was there at the exhibition opening, proud to see her friend's sister being recognized. "Olivia, your paintings are beautiful," she said. "They make me feel hopeful." Olivia was moved. "Thank you, Emily. That means so much to me." That night, Olivia sold half of her works. For the first time in her life, she would have significant income of her own. Ryan was beaming at his sister's success. "Mrs. Thompson, I don't know how to thank you for everything you've done for us." "Ryan, you're the ones who changed our lives. Emily is happier than she's been in a long time." And it was true. Emily had completely transformed. She'd returned to her studies with enthusiasm, made new friends online, and even started thinking about the future. But the biggest test was yet to come. Dear listener, if you're enjoying the story, please take a moment to like and especially subscribe to the channel. It helps us a lot as we're just starting out. Now, continuing. 3 months after Olivia's exhibition, Jennifer received a call that changed everything. "Jennifer, this is Dr. William from Mercy Hospital." Jennifer felt a chill in her stomach. Dr. William was the doctor who had treated Emily after the accident. "What happened, doctor?" "Nothing urgent, but I need to speak with you about Emily. The results from the new tests we ran last month have come in." "And? It's better we talk in person. Can you come this afternoon?" Jennifer cancelled all her appointments for the day and went straight to the hospital. Her mind raced, imagining every possibility. In Dr. Williams' office, she sat with trembling hands. "Doctor, please, get straight to the point." "Jennifer, the tests show significant recovery in Emily's spinal cord." She stopped breathing. "What does that mean?" "It means there's a possibility, however small, that she could regain some movement. Not full, but partial." "How is this possible? You told me there was no chance." "And there wasn't based on the previous tests, but the human body sometimes surprises us. The regeneration we're seeing is minimal, but it's there." Jennifer began to cry. "What needs to be done?" "Intensive physical therapy, specific treatments. It's expensive and there are no guarantees. It might lead nowhere. I don't care about the cost. We'll try." "Jennifer, you need to talk to Emily first. She'll have to dedicate herself fully to the treatments, and it will be painful physically and emotionally." Jennifer nodded, still processing the news. When she got home, she found Emily in the living room doing homework. She looked calm and happy. "Hi, Mum. How was your day?" Jennifer sat beside her daughter, unsure how to begin. "Emily, I need to tell you something important." The girl stopped writing and looked at her mother. "You look like you have either really good news or really bad news." "Maybe both." Jennifer told her about the conversation with the doctor, the possibility of partial recovery, the necessary treatments. Emily listened in silence, her expression serious beyond her years. "What if it doesn't work?" she finally asked. "Then we go on with our lives as they are now. You're happy, aren't you?" Emily thought for a moment. "I am, Mom. For the first time since the accident, I'm truly happy. I have friends. I have plans for the future. The wheelchair doesn't define me anymore." "So, what's your decision?" "I want to try. Not for the movement, but for you. I know how much this means to you." Jennifer hugged her daughter, moved. "No, sweetheart. The decision has to be yours, based on what you want, not what I want." Emily stayed silent for a few minutes. "Can I talk to Ryan and Olivia before deciding?" "Of course you can." The next day, Ryan and Olivia came over for dinner at the Thompson house. Emily told them about the possibility of treatment and asked for their opinions. "What would you do in my place?" Olivia thought carefully before answering. "Emily, when I had my accident, I spent years dreaming of a miracle cure. It kept me from living the life I had. I only started being truly happy when I accepted my condition and realized I could be whole just as I was. But if you had a chance to walk again, now? I don't know if I'd try. I'm afraid hope would make me unhappy again." Ryan agreed with his sister. "Emily, you need to ask yourself, are you doing this to be happy or because you think you should try?" Emily reflected for several days. She talked to Jennifer, Ryan, Olivia, even some new friends she'd made online. Finally, she made her decision. "Mom, I want to try the treatment." "Are you sure?" "I am, but not because I want to walk again. It's because I want to know I tried every possibility. That way, no matter the outcome, I won't have regrets." Jennifer was proud of her daughter's maturity. The treatments began the following week. They were intense and painful, just as the doctor had predicted. Emily spent 4 hours a day at Mercy Hospital, doing physical therapy and other procedures. Ryan adjusted his schedule at the company to accompany her when Jennifer couldn't. Olivia also offered to keep her friend company during the toughest sessions. It was months of hard work. Some days, Emily came home excited about small progress. Other days, she arrived discouraged and crying from pain. "Sometimes I don't know if it's worth it," she confessed to Ryan one day. "Do you want to stop?" "No, I want to finish what I started, but it's hard." The things worth doing usually are. After 6 months of treatment, there was the first real sign of progress. During a physical therapy session, Emily managed to slightly move her right foot. The therapist was ecstatic. "This is amazing! It's the first voluntary movement since the accident," Emily cried, partly from emotion, partly from fear. "What now?" "Now we keep going. Slowly, no rush, but we keep going." Jennifer was at work when she got the call. She immediately cancelled all her meetings and rushed to the hospital. When she arrived, she found Emily surrounded by Ryan, Olivia, and the entire medical team. Everyone was overjoyed. "Mom, I moved my foot." Jennifer hugged her daughter, crying with happiness. "I'm so proud of you." But Emily surprised her with her next words. "Mom, no matter where this leads, I already feel victorious, because I've learned I can face any challenge." The following months brought slow but steady progress. Emily regained limited movement in both legs, not enough to walk normally, but enough to stand with support for short periods. More important than the physical progress was her emotional growth. She became a confident, determined, and compassionate young woman. Ryan also grew a lot during this time. His work at Jennifer's company thrived, and he was promoted twice. He started taking management courses and showed a natural talent for leadership. Olivia established herself as a respected artist in Miami. Her works were sought after, not just for their technique, but for the message of resilience they conveyed. She began giving talks about art and disability, inspiring others in similar situations. The Miller family moved into a larger, more comfortable apartment. Margaret, with an improved quality of life, saw her health significantly improve. But the biggest change happened in the relationship between Jennifer and Emily. They grew closer, more honest with each other. Jennifer learned to respect her daughter's independence, and Emily learned to value her mother's love. A year after the treatments began, there was a special celebration. Olivia organized a charity exhibition where she would sell her works to raise money for other people with disabilities who needed treatment. The exhibition was held in an elegant space in downtown Miami. Dozens of people attended, including several clients from Jennifer's company. During the event, Emily rose from her chair with the help of crutches and walked a few steps to the makeshift stage. Silence fell over the room. "A year and a half ago, I thought my life was over," she began, her voice steady and clear. "I was wrong. My life was just beginning in a different way." She shared her story, spoke about Ryan and Olivia, about how they taught her that disability isn't a limitation, just a different way of living. "Today I can stand, take a few steps. That's wonderful. But what matters most is that I've learned to be happy whether I'm standing or sitting." The audience applauded, moved. Jennifer wept with pride in Ryan and Olivia's arms. "I want to especially thank 3 people," Emily continued. "My mother, who never gave up on me, even when I gave up on myself. Ryan, who taught me how to smile again, and Olivia, who showed me that art can come from any situation." She paused, looking directly at her mother. "But most of all, I want to thank you for teaching me that family isn't just who we're born with. Family is who we choose to have beside us in hard times." Jennifer stepped onto the stage and embraced her daughter. Ryan and Olivia joined the hug. It was a chosen family, bound not by blood, but by love and mutual gratitude. The exhibition raised more money than expected. Part of it went to a fund to help other families in situations like the Millers had faced. In the following months, their lives continued to flourish. Ryan was promoted to regional manager at Jennifer's company. Olivia received an offer to exhibit her work in New York. Emily was accepted into a prestigious university to study occupational therapy. "I want to help others the way you helped me," she explained her career choice. Jennifer fully supported her daughter's decision. She also became more involved in social projects, using her company to create opportunities for people with disabilities. 3 years after that first dinner at the restaurant, the 2 families gathered to celebrate. It was Ryan's birthday, and they were dining at the same restaurant where it all began. "You know what I love most about this whole story?" Emily said, smiling. "What?" Olivia asked. "That it started with something so simple, a trick with trays. Who would have thought it would change our lives forever?" Ryan laughed. "Sometimes the most important things in life start simply." "It's true," Jennifer agreed. "I came to this restaurant looking for a way to make my daughter smile. I never imagined I'd find an entire family." Margaret, who now also joined their regular gatherings, raised her glass of water. "A toast to the families we choose." "To the families we choose," everyone repeated together. As they raised their glasses, Jennifer looked around the table. Ryan had become like a son to her. Olivia was like a second daughter. Margaret was the wise friend she never knew she needed. And Emily had become the brave and compassionate young woman Jennifer had always dreamed of raising. All because of a smile. A smile she had caught that day, watching from the restaurant window, that changed their lives forever. 2 years later, more surprises came. Ryan and Olivia received an unexpected offer. A television network wanted to make a documentary about their lives, focusing on their resilience and the professional success they had achieved. "It's a chance to inspire others," the producer explained. "You're proof that it's possible to overcome any obstacle." Ryan hesitated. "I'm not sure I want to expose our private lives." "But think of how many people could be helped," Olivia argued. "How many families are going through the same thing we did?" Jennifer supported the idea. "You transformed our lives, now you can transform so many others." Emily, now in her second year of occupational therapy, also encouraged her friends. "Do the documentary, but on one condition. Part of the proceeds should go to a fund to help low-income families with disabled members." The idea was accepted, and the documentary was filmed over 6 months. It showed Ryan's daily work, Olivia in her studio, Emily at the university and in therapy, and Jennifer coordinating social projects at her company. The documentary premiered at a film festival and received excellent reviews. More importantly, it deeply moved the audience. "I've never seen such a beautiful story about resilience," one critic remarked. "It's not about overcoming disability, but realizing it doesn't define who we are." The documentary's success brought unexpected opportunities. Ryan was invited to speak at companies about inclusion and leadership. Olivia received painting commissions from across the country. Emily was approached by universities to share her experience. Jennifer saw her company grow exponentially, not just in business, but in the reputation for social responsibility it had built. But the most important thing was that they remained united as a family. Every Monday they had dinner together, sometimes at Jennifer's place, other times at the Miller's apartment. "You know what I've realized," Emily said during one of those dinners. "Our story isn't about my recovery or your professional success. It's about how love can transform lives." "How so?" Ryan asked. "My mother's love, which never gave up on me. Your love for family, which made you sacrifice your dreams, the love we've grown for each other. That's what brought us here." Jennifer was moved by her daughter's words. Emily had become a wise and insightful young woman, able to see beyond appearances. 5 years after that first meeting at the restaurant, there was a special celebration. Ryan was graduating with a degree in business. Olivia was about to open her first gallery, and Emily had been accepted into a master's program in occupational therapy. "Do you realize we're living the dreams we thought were impossible 5 years ago?" Jennifer observed. "It's true," Ryan agreed. "Back then I just wanted a job that would let me take care of my family. I never imagined I'd have a solid career. And I just wanted someone to see my art," Olivia added. "I never thought I'd have my own gallery. And I just wanted to smile again," Emily finished. "I never imagined I'd help others smile too." Jennifer looked at each of them fondly. "Do you know what my biggest lesson has been these past few years?" "What?" they all asked together. "That we can't control what happens to us, but we can control how we respond to it. And sometimes the greatest blessings come disguised as problems." "Was Emily's accident a blessing?" Ryan asked, confused. "In a way, yes. If it weren't for the accident, I never would have brought her to dinner at that restaurant. I never would have met you all. We never would have become family." Emily nodded. "Mom's right. I wouldn't wish the accident on anyone, but I wouldn't change anything that happened after it. Sometimes I wonder, Olivia reflected, what would have happened if Ryan hadn't been so kind to Emily that first night. But he was, Jennifer smiled, because that's the kind of person he is, and that made all the difference. The conversation continued late into the night. They reminisced about the hard times they'd overcome together, the joys they'd shared, and the dreams they'd fulfilled. When the evening ended, everyone went home with hearts full of gratitude, not just for what they'd achieved, but most of all for the family they'd found along the way. Jennifer, driving home with Emily, broke the silence in the car. "Emily, can I ask you something?" "Of course, Mom." "Are you happy?" Emily smiled. That genuine smile Jennifer had first seen at the restaurant 5 years ago. "Happier than I ever imagined possible, Mom. And you?" "Completely happy." And it was true. Jennifer had discovered that happiness wasn't about controlling her daughter's life or fixing what seemed broken. Happiness was about accepting, loving, and supporting unconditionally. Years later, when Emily became a renowned occupational therapist, Ryan, a successful entrepreneur, and Olivia, an internationally recognized artist, they still gathered religiously every Monday. Their families grew. Ryan married and had children. Olivia found a partner who shared her passion for art. Emily married a colleague who also worked with people with disabilities. Jennifer became an adoptive grandmother to all the children who came into their lives, and Margaret became the beloved matriarch of a family that grew larger each year. But the foundation of it all remained the same: unconditional love, mutual gratitude, and the certainty that family isn't defined by blood, but by the choice to be present in each other's lives. At one of these gatherings, now with everyone married and with children, Emily made an observation that deeply moved everyone. "You know what touches me most when I look at our families today?" "What?" they asked. "Seeing our children grow up knowing that differences aren't barriers. They watch Aunt Olivia paint with her mouth and think it's normal. They see Mom using a wheelchair sometimes and don't question it. To them, diversity is family." "It's the world we wish we'd had as kids," Olivia added. "And it's the world we're creating for them," Ryan said. Jennifer, now with graying hair and wrinkles that told stories of much laughter and a few tears, looked around the table at the people she loved. "You know what I think when I see all of you here." "What, Grandma Jennifer?" one of the grandchildren asked. "I think life is like a puzzle. Sometimes we think we've lost an important piece, but then we discover that the pieces we have form a picture even more beautiful than we imagined." The children didn't fully understand the metaphor, but the adults felt the weight of those words. Each had gone through moments when they thought something essential was missing from their lives, but together they discovered they had everything they needed. As the night wore on and the families prepared to leave, there was a moment of contemplative silence. It was as if everyone was mentally capturing that moment, knowing it was special. "Before we go," Emily said, "I'd like to suggest something." Everyone looked at her curiously. "What if we wrote our story? Not for fame or publication, just to leave a record for our children and grandchildren of how a family can be born from the most unexpected moments." The idea was met with enthusiasm. Each person committed to writing their part of the story, their perspective on the events that brought them together. Months later, they had a handmade book, crafted with love and illustrated by their own children. It was the story of how a smile caught through a restaurant window changed 6 lives forever. On the first page, Jennifer wrote a dedication that summed it all up. "To all who are still searching for their heart's family, it may be closer than you think. Sometimes you just need to stop searching and start seeing the people already by your side." End of story. Now tell me, what did you think of this touching story? Did Ryan do the right thing by always being kind to Emily? And Jennifer, should she have been upfront from the beginning about her company? Share your honest thoughts in the comments below. Don't forget to like if the story moved you and subscribe to the channel so you won't miss other heartwarming stories. Thank you for staying until the end.